Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Cross Pollination. I'm your host, TJ Reynolds. Today on our show, we have a special Beatmakers edition. We're going to be having three hip hop producers as our guests who have all taken the same song and sampled it and flipped it into their own hip hop beat. They'll walk us through their process and how they approached it. And we'll get to see three different interpretations of the same sample source. I had an interesting discussion with someone about what a freestyle is and the meaning of the word freestyle. And it has changed over time. Freestyle traditionally always meant something that was improvised off of the dome. Eventually, freestyle has gone on to mean in different contexts, perhaps a verse not written, but not about any particular subject. And I think what's cool about that is that part of what hip hop does is it changes things. It changes the meanings of things. It reinterprets things. Just like when we're talking about beat makers and we're talking about a hip hop beat, we're not just talking about the rhythms and the drum of it, although all the elements are percussive, and the repetition is important, even of the melodic parts. And that's a core of hip hop in itself. It takes the old and it reinvents it, and it looks at it through a new lens and a more rhythmic lens. To take that why That's why hip hop is everywhere in the world, and any kind of music from any culture can be interpreted and sampled and thought about in this rhythmic way and turned into hip hop. That's why hip hop is the biggest genre of music in the world. So I'm excited to talk to our beat makers today and, hear what they have to say about the process and the art form. So we've got some special guests today, and we've also got a new segment called Whack Shit of the Week with TJ's mom. Yes, my mother will be joining us later on in the program to talk about the whack shit that really got her goat this week. It's going to be a new segment. It's going to be awesome. Tune in. Stay tuned. First, we're going to bring out a very old friend of mine and, one of my oldest and closest collaborators. He's one of the people that I run Just Do Records with, and, just a great creative spirit. Let's welcome back to our show, Mr. Spread.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you, TJ, for the great introduction.
Good to see you, Spread. How you doing?
You too, man. Hey, I'm good. Busy, but good. Yeah.
Yeah. You got you representing the squad there, I see.
Yeah, well, we need some help, so I need to, put some of the confidence of Pacers Nation into the air. Hopefully they see my shirt tonight and beat the Lakers. So we'll see.
Yeah, sweet. So, just talking about kind of beat making in general, how did you get involved in hip hop production? What made you want to get involved, and what was your journey into doing it?
Well, now that I think about it, you've been there through quite a bit of my journey. I used to kind of at junior high parties and early high school parties, like steal the CD player and just kind of like run things like the little DJ, and I would make pause tapes and stuff that people were passing around, and everyone was like, dude, you should DJ. And
hold on, pause for a second. Hold on. Can you tell us what is a pause tape for someone that might not be familiar?
Okay, so most like component tape players back in the 80s and 90s had two dual deck, like two decks. You could record from one to the other. And what I would do is basically take a song and like record it until it got to a point, and then I would stop it or I'd pause it, because if you stopped it, it gives a little bit of a lead, so you had to pause it so it stopped right on the spot, and then I would bring another tape in and hit it right at the same time so that it would continue, so you could almost like make it say stuff, and you could just take little bits and pieces of song. It's like a collage, basically, like a musical collage, and it's a way to keep the music moving and kind of keep the mood going or change the mood. And so I was, I don't know, I was probably about I probably made my first one was like 13 or 14, and then everyone was like, you should be a DJ. But I still was always been rapping. I've always been writing rap since I was a kid, So you and I used to go to, remember when Chris Hunt's mom would go out of town and he had big old, like, it wouldn't be big parties. It would be just a bunch of hip hop heads over there. And Rob would bring his turntables, and Jason and Rory and all those guys would be there. And I was kind of nervous at first because I was just nervous. But then, we would freestyle and stuff, and then I'd be like, that looks cool, and Rob would let me get on the turntables, and I had no idea what I was doing. But in my mind at the time, I was like, well, I need beats to rap over. And so I need turntables, I need two turntables and a mixer. I think that can do it, because that's the original way of making beats is you take a break and you just loop it with two records over and over again, So this was probably 94. I guess. And then I finally saved up. I probably got a pair of belt drives in like 95 or 96. And it had this Gemini Scratchmaster mixer that had a 12-second sampler on an 8-bit sampler. And if you unplugged it, your sample's gone. So you had to, so I eventually saved up for a 4-track, and I would make these, me and my homie C would be in his dad's basement, raiding his dad's records. We stay up all night and just finding samples, looping them as perfect as we could on the button, you know, on the sampler. And then I'd put a break over it. And they made ultimate breakbeat records and all that kind of stuff. Shout out to Breakbeat Lou. Did that shit, who's now my homie. It's crazy the way the world works.
Wow.
But yeah, he DJs for Souls of Mischief and stuff now. So we've done some gigs together and stuff. But yeah, so I got a 4-track and started just kind of making beats and then making weird things with that. And then eventually when I, got to college, I had my friend Jeremy gave me this little drum machine, this little Boss drum machine. And I would add my own program drums on top of breakbeat drums. And then I learned more about the process, then I met people that had MPCs and different gear was coming out. And then, so when I don't know, I guess I eventually, started making, I got in the audio program at IU. And so we were using Pro Tools, and back then Fruity Loops had just come out and all kind of stuff. So I used that for a while, but then I was always more into hardware. So I eventually got a SP1200.
Which is like a really old school sampler. It's kind of like you went back a little more analog.
Well, you had the MPC, and I was gonna get one because all my favorite beats were. I was like, man, MPC is what everything's made on. But then I was like, well, TJ has an MPC. I want to do so. I want to sound different,
And it ended up like being a sound for you for a long time.
Yeah, well, I've always been a huge DJ Premier fan. And like, as soon as I got the SP1200 and like made my first beat, I was like, oh, like the mystique of DJ Premier didn't wear off, but I was kind of like, oh, this is, because with the MPC, you have to chop because you have 10 total seconds of sample time split between 4 microchips. So the longest sample you could take is 2.5 seconds. So you learn tricks like most people sample they put the record on 45, so you can sample it faster and fit more in, and then you slow it down with the tuner.
And it kind of gives it like a little magic dust, like that makes it sound like golden era hip hop in a way.
Yeah, it totally does, because for 2 reasons. One is that the actual tuning, it isn't digital time stretching like you can do now. It was kind of like it's like a ring modulator mixed with a pitch shift thing. So it basically kind of like you slow the beat down, but you still have just like this grime in it. And then when you try and play back the loop that you had to split between 3 or 4 pads, it doesn't match up. Like it won't match up to a normal metronome. So then you have to chop it.
Yeah.
And you're playing your own thing.
Yeah. I'd love to hear, let's hear something that has some SP1200 on it. You might get a little idea. Do you have a song that you can play for us?
Yeah, I do. Hang on. Let me, yeah, I do. I actually have a couple projects that I did. So I just recently sold my SP1200. But I still have a lot of beats that I did on it. So
people are clamoring for that equipment. It's hard to find.
Yeah. Should I just put it in the chat maybe?
Sure.
And then the song that I put in the chat is it was originally made on the SP1200, and then as time has gone on, I had Jeremy put bass on top of it, and different elements. So, yeah, this This one we used to freestyle to in my car all the time.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
So what's the senators?
And that's a picture of the SP-1200 there on the that you used with the cake.
Leads me to conclude with clue that they are far from unself-centered. So I believe are all our spectators.
EE coming, you know.
And so I'm convinced our street cleaners, deaf mutes, murderers, mothers.
So the best one to use this.
International spies, ghostwriters, business executives, out and out nuts. Business executives. Out and out nuts.
Hey Matt, I might have a better one than this. But before, I just real quick so that has some layers over it, but that guitar, that part, and then it kind of sounds like rain in the background. It's actually the very end of a song where the guitar player is just kind of noodling and the crowd is starting to clap. But it's slowed down, and then so the claps kind of like sound like rain a little bit.
That's cool.
And, but
hold on, before we go on, I want to kind of jump into the songs that we chopped up, but I just put in the chat a YouTube link. This is let's listen to just a little bit of the song. This is an Otis Redding song that all three of our producers sampled and turned into a beat. So let's listen a little bit to the source, and then we'll hear what Spread did with it.
Once I lived a life of a millionaire. People spending my money, Lord, and I just didn't care.
It's one of the most iconic voices ever. Awesome. I think that's good. That's good. That'll give us a little feel. That's our sample source. So I sent this out to our producers. And Spread, can you tell us a little bit of the process of what you did, and then we'll go ahead and debut the song?
Yeah. So I did it pretty much all in my MPC, MPC X, which is this one right here. I basically, so that beginning part is a classic EPMD sample. And so the beginning part, and then there's an open drum, there's an open snare and a tom there, but they're not actually as open as I thought. Cause when I took the snare, it has like in the background that I tried to filter out, but it's a little hard. So what I always try and do is find an open drum, and in a situation like this, I always try and use as much of the sample source as possible. Because sometimes you can slow stuff down or make it totally irrecognizable, low pass filters and all that stuff. But I figured for this, like since we're showcasing the sampling, I tried to use it. And I basically, since the song is like a swing song, you know, it's shuffled. Okay. I didn't want to have the beat like that because you know, it's a cool thing, but it's just like it's not that hip hop necessarily. So I like to keep it like just. So that was a challenge to take that and take the parts and make them sound like a new song. So what I did was I found a mono version, like an old version online. I downloaded on iTunes, and then I found another older version that has the guitar in one speaker and has the horns in the other speaker. And then so I split them up into mono tracks, and I sampled just the side that had the parts I wanted in it. And then so I was able to separate the guitar a little bit. It has a little bit of, you have the reverb bleed in the background, but the guitar is kind of by itself. And I just kind of chopped up the guitar parts and used that mostly for the beat. And then I used the snare too. At the beginning, I used just the raw snare, and then I ended up layering some stuff on top of it as the beat goes on to make it knock a little bit more. And I added a bass line. So I don't know, you'll hear it. I don't know if you.
Cool. All right.
I'll talk all night if you let me. So
sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and hear it.
Let it flow. Let yourself spread.
Gotta tag it.
Put 'em while I eat 'em. Eat 'em.
Yeah.
bass line.
Yeah, I got it hooked up to my speakers. I can hear the bass line. I hope you got it. Your headphones on so you can hear that bass.
I'm trying to tell y'all what.
There we go.
I'm trying to tell y'all. 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 I'm trying to tell you.
So you see Spread's info scrolling down there. Make sure you follow him. Yeah, support on Bandcamp. How many projects have you released during the pandemic, Spread?
Probably 10, 11.
This,
Maybe
yo,
12.
he's been busy. Yeah.
It kind
So-
of depends. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, check out Spread. That was banging, man. Thank you. We're gonna bring out our next guest. We're gonna bring out Mr. Vinyl Villain, who's calling us from Massachusetts, Newburyport to be exact. How you doing, sir? You muted still?
My fault. There we go. What up?
What up, man? How are you?
Man, I'm chilling. Just vibing.
Yeah. So we have a relationship. We put out a joint album. You know, I met you through the Subway Cipher. Just cats meeting up to rhyme and producers different showcase, and we just kind of hit it off and put a project out together. So shout out to that.
Yeah, that was dope, man. Subway, so shout out to the Subway.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rec Shop.
I think something about you that I've seen is like, I mean, you jump in. You know, you're not afraid. You take opportunities, and you're also like a master collaborator. I think you know, people work with you, they put together whole projects with you, and you know, you create things that are inspiring and really fit the MCs that you're working with really well. Can you talk about kind of your process of working with MCs? How does it go about? How do you choose who you work with, and you know, what's your collaboration process?
Usually it's just, you know, if I listen to music, you know what I mean? I'm just a fan of music, so I listen to a lot of different artists, and if I, you know, find somebody that I like, I usually reach out to them, you know, and see if we could just start building a relationship before any music even gets sent. You know, I already know because I'm a fan, you know. Usually when I reach out, people will look into, you know, what I've done, and then just sort of builds organically. I don't force anything. I don't sell beats to people just as like a money grab. Not that it's like that, but you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
people reach out, they want to buy beats, but I usually don't, because it's just, I like to see the end product. You know,
Yeah.
I like to see it all the way through. So if I just sell beats to random people on BeatStars or shit like that, which again, like no slight to that or anybody that does that, but I'll
It's not
never know.
exactly collaborating, you
Well,
know.
that, yeah, and I'll never know, like, yeah, or all right, great, somebody bought my beat, but I want to hear the fucking song.
Right.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, I'm not, it's more about that to me. Like I want to hear the record once it's done.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I reach out to people. Prior to the pandemic, yeah, I was, you know, traveling back and forth to New York a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hit Philly and DC a couple times and reached
Yeah.
out. I mean, that's mainly, you know, who I've collaborated with is, you know, cats from New York, a couple local cats, you know, Boston cats.
Mm-hmm.
DC, I did an album with Uncle John from DC.
Yeah, that shit's fire, dude.
One of the
Yeah.
best projects that I've put out. You know, I sort of self-coined the Marty Scorsese of hip hop, and to me, Uncle John is my Robert De Niro. You know,
Yeah.
like he's got. I actually saw him perform for the first time in New Jersey years back, when this whole underground scene really first started bubbling. And just the way that he like commanded the crowd, grabbed the mic, and you know walked
Yeah.
right in the crowd while he was spitting his verse. I was like, yo, I got to work with this dude. He's got a
Mm-hmm.
hip voice. And then yeah, just you know reached out through social media. We ended up linking up in Philly. We traveled to New York together, and just sort of built the relationship. And that's how it's
Yeah.
been with every solo project I've done. You know,
Yeah.
from the first one with Ito, from Rochester, New York. You know,
Mm-hmm.
built with him organically. Then Uncle John, Fast Life from New York,
Yeah.
Rick from New York,
Yeah, I
Spin
love that, man.
Boston.
You're making these opportunities happen for yourself. You know, you're not waiting for them. And I know you've also jumped into a lot of beat battles, and you know, beating some people up on that circuit too. So, you know, you're in there. Let's listen to that. I know you gave us a link to one of your videos. What are we about to check out here?
So I actually, you know, I'm more than a producer. You know, I consider myself more than a producer. You know, I'm a brand. You know, Vinyl Villain is a brand. I've got, you know, I sell hats, hoodies, you know, along with, you know, CDs, all that shit, vinyl, everything. So the video that I sent is actually a promo video for the hoodies that I was selling.
All right.
It's scored by me, you know, my music, but it's just a little promo video that my homie Shamel shot.
Dope. Let's check it out. Yeah, man. I don't know how effective that is going to be. I don't know if anybody's going to be wanting to wear the shit after that, man. I don't know. You
I
made it
don't
look
know.
cool. Right on, yeah. That's
Yeah,
dope.
man,
That's dope.
appreciate the support,
Yeah,
always.
man. Yo, hit Vinyl Villain up. Get some merch.
See
Can you tell us
the
about? Yeah.
go to the website down there, scrolling down the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Website brand new, just launched that.
Yeah. I mean, and Vinyl Villain is a creative person that likes to get out there. So, this pandemic, we haven't been able to get out and do our thing as much. So we appreciate any bit of support you can send our way. So can you tell us a little bit about how you approached this Otis Redding sample?
So many different ways. I listened to it first, the sample, like Spread said, classic sample from EPMD. And yeah, like they kind of did it a little bit differently, but I don't know. I flipped it like 2-3 different ways. I wasn't really too happy with each of the ways. I was like, nah, I got to get something different. Nah, I don't like
Overthinking.
it.
I bet they're all dope too.
I chopped it up, like a 4-bar loop, a couple 4-bar loops, and fucked with that shit a little bit. But I didn't really like how it was coming out. It wasn't really my sound. Like, I have a sound, if any, you know what I mean? If you get familiar with my music, I have a specific sound. So it wasn't really hitting the, that I wasn't like, nah, this doesn't sound like me.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go back to the roots, and I grabbed a break, chopped up a break, and chopped up the sample a little bit. I took the beginning, when I heard the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, I like that.
Like, you're overthinking it at first. You're like, let me just do my thing.
I like that first note, and I detuned it a little bit and added a bass line, added some effects,
Okay.
just
Right.
hip hop shit, man.
Nice. Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, word. Yeah, is this gonna is it gonna, like, it's not gonna be like a echo or anything like that? It should be straight. Spending my money.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. There's no way to not rhyme grimy on that beat, It's like,
And that's it. Like I said, if you get familiar with the sound, like, it's just that was calling to me.
yeah. And I think,
To me.
this is a nice job of creating space, and I think that's why.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's not to toot my own horn, but that's been said.
Yeah.
Like, I leave space. You know what I mean, for a rapper to do their thing.
Word. Dope, man. Thank you. I think we're gonna bring out our third producer here.
Bring them out. I'm out.
Yeah, man, right on. That's Vinyl Villain, y'all. That dude is he's off and now he's snatching more records up. He is never done with that. We're going to bring out from Indianapolis, Mr. Harry Otaku. Hey, hey.
That's good, DJ.
How you doing, sir?
Chilling,
Good,
and
good.
enjoying my Friday. Weather's decent, but
This is like the closest thing we'll get to doing a show until we get all vaxxed and waxed and whatever else we need.
and it's so crazy the way it all unfolded. But I don't know. I appreciate that everybody's taking the time with it, minus all the people wearing the mask with the nose out and all that.
The dick
About
nose.
them everywhere, especially at gas stations. Like, what you need? Back up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's you drive out of the city and it's just like, whew, there's no, you get people look at you funny for wearing a mask.
That part, it's a whole damn thing. But the COVID is affecting everybody differently. But me, I had a few close friends lose people, so I just, with every phone call, I had to take it more and more seriously. But
Yep, I feel that. So how have you been able to stay creative during this time?
An abundance of good anime, duh. So this isn't even an exaggeration, and I'm gonna try to be as vague as possible. On my PS4 alone, I'm like in the triple digits for games that I have not played. Like, if it wasn't for my brother opening a few that I had laying around, they would still be in the plastic because I just got so into like between work and then trying to work on music when I wasn't at work. It's just felt like a lot of it just went to the wayside, and I felt bad. I was like, this used to be my thing. I used to love it. And then everything shut down, so now I'm like getting back into it, and it's like finding a bunch of good ass books you bought but never had the time to read. So going through all that, and just every day I got something new in my head, so I've just been having fun with it.
That's dope, man. Let's listen to a little bit of what you got. You have a video with that's featuring Double A. Is that correct?
It's off a project I dropped last Halloween, which was for the It tape. It's a little thing I do. If anybody's familiar with my discography, I like to chop up films and stuff, and this was for the remake of the Stephen King film.
Okay.
Me, the homie Double A, and the homie GMC Faux Show. Anybody that's not familiar with that man's work, please look it up. Dude is hilarious, and he got bars for days. But I hit him up and he hit me up with some ad libs and stuff, and like it came out really dope.
Awesome. Let's check it out.
Hey, Harry. Yeah. Hey. Sweat. Look. Said it's back to basics, back to the wall. Never had to back my placement. Got a backpack for the raps and face it. I'm an educated artist with a knack for making every motherfucker in a room shaking their boots. I got a gun for a mouth and I'm making it shoot. I'm making do what a job is my main paycheck. Had to bust a couple fells, now they breaking their neck. Moving up a couple rows like a private show. My pride is growing, I'm cocky like my private show. My mind is knowing I'm really about to fuck the game up. 2 A's, Freddie never fuck my name up. Shit, I'm about to bounce me and luck the same. I done made my bread early, now I'm out this bitch. I died they fist alone, could deliver the punch. My lines burning after reading like I'm Malcolm, bitch. I say, y'all suspect. Y'all suspect. Yeah, I done got the jewels, but now these motherfuckers never wanna cut the check. I said, y'all suspect. Yeah, y'all suspect. I done made 100 songs calling all of them out, but when I'm popping out, they wanna say they upset. Man, I stay looking around for somebody that's genuine. I'll be judging all these rappers off of what type of friend you been. I ain't really want to play with my shit harder than Pendleton. Well, I took a break from spasm, but I'm back in my penance. Well, I pulled out the big guns, ready to spray 'em before my city drops some shit. They gotta let me you can, cause I can't have no type of whack representing the plane. And think we all sounded like these motherfuckers who play. Cause I'm an artist and I'm serious about this shit. I'm about this shit and I don't need to clout for shit. I'm about the grit and grind for the millionth time, but y'all knew that. I've been in the dry to sit, but I ain't talking Lil Wayne, no. See the same motherfuckers in their lane, no. Trying to get a piece of shiner with the same flow. Goddamn, swear this shit been weighing on my brain, though. That's okay, though. Y'all suspect. Y'all suspect. Yeah, I done got the jewels, but now these motherfuckers never wanna cut the check. I said, y'all suspect. Yeah, y'all suspect. I done made 100 songs calling all of them out, but when I'm popping out, they wanna say they upset.
Yeah, that's super dope, man. Nice.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Something that struck me about your production is, I mean, I know you mentioned anime, but like as an influence, it feels very theatrical. Like there's a story being told in each of your beats, and there's a little bit of nefariousness happening. Like, what is your approach and mood that you try to do? How does that happen?
The funny thing is, the nefarious thing has come up on multiple occasions, and I'm always like, "Word." I always try the soft-hearted spot, but it just always come out as like nefarious. But a lot of times when it comes to me using films, it's just like anything I've ever watched and I like got something from, whether it be a quote or a scene that was just impactful to me and how I like approach every day. I always try to find a way to incorporate that in my music because maybe it like when you find you a dope sample and you want to share with somebody, maybe they'll take something from it as well. Oh,
Hmm.
out to my
Yeah.
brother Carl down there. I see you, bro. But he's a dope ass producer from Denver, by the way. Good homie. But
Nice.
yeah, whenever I'm like doing music, that's where a lot of it comes from with all of those snippets and stuff I put in. It's just something that I feel like maybe somebody will take away something from this as well. And then, hell, it might even pull them through the day or just give them something to share. But that's what it all comes down to. That and
Yeah.
you don't know how it's going to resonate somewhere else. And that's always up to you as well.
Yeah. I think that's interesting because if you're thinking about something like visual art, somebody has their different influences that they incorporate and put into their style. With hip hop, you can literally take your influences and sample them and put them together and create your style in that way. It's really it's a collage and which comes out to be you, only you.
R.I.P. to Doom. He was one of the finest at it.
Yeah. He had a lot of the old cartoons he'd sample in it.
He was actually pulling those from VHS tapes, which is the crazy. And he like was it? I was sitting in on it was a group what is it the hell chat house, not chat house, what the fuck, chat, it's an app. Just the whole entire seminar he was talking about just like how dope his creative process was, and he was like Doom would sit by and like really watch all these cartoons for days on end, and he would just remember little snippets of it, and then at one point he would just weave them together for a song. He
Wow.
would just remembering like, yo, they said that on this, I'm gonna use that. And this is like way before I even really got into it. It was just something I always thought about. Like growing up, like and this is probably for like damn near everybody, but like Wu-Tang Clan was a huge influence on me as a kid. I wish I could find the damn picture because there's literally one of me in my like, I want to say 7th grade photo. Nah, farther back. It's either 4th or 5th grade where I'm literally in an Adidas jumpsuit holding a copy of Wu-Tang Clan Shaolin Style.
That's an album cover one day,
Yeah, because I was like, this the one. And I was
Yeah.
looking back at it and busting out laughing. I was just like, boy, I did not care. I was like, look
That's dope. I love it.
yeah, man. Just I dug that approach to just knowing that this dude really was really into kung fu films, like all the martial arts shit and like the Shaolin. So he put in all his music, and I was like, I feel the same way about it. I don't know so much about Shaolin and shit, but I was like, you know what? That leaves room for me to find my own thing. Here we are.
Yeah, and it's really there's no rules about it. People try to pretend, oh, you got to only sample from here or whatever it is. There's no rules.
In the slightest.
Yeah. So can you talk us through your process of how you approach the Otis song to make your beat?
Honestly, I chopped the hell out of this sample. And a lot of it was from me just finding like a lot of times when I approach a record, especially one where it doesn't like hit me right off the bat, there was a part I already liked in the song, but it doesn't matter because of how the vocal snippets were around it. I was like, I could do some like DJ and stuff to kind of finesse and get the pieces I wanted out of it. But I was like, nah, I actually want to leave some of that in there because for those more bigger records, well, not even bigger record, bigger artists, I like to leave those little pieces of them in it so that.
Yep. Lost you a little bit, but I think I knew where you were going with that one. So we'll get Harry Otaku back on in a moment. Hopefully I'm not the one that's not going through. But we're going to have, after Harry Otaku shares his chop, we'll have my mom come out for a new segment with us. So I think this is Harry Otaku's track, so we can go ahead and take a listen to what he did with the Otis, and hopefully he'll come back and get to talk to us about it.
Technical difficulties, but we got it. We got it.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I love it. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's just so in the pocket. And you know, like it was only
Yo,
like
interview right now. Let me get you back.
slight.
It's my brother's birthday, so I hear him being reckless right now.
Oh
But
yeah, I will let you go soon, but yeah, that was only a little bit nefarious, man. It was like
I was trying to keep it up speed, but for once, because I was just like, man, like I had like this is my second go with the first one. I was just like, why I'm like making villainous themes and shit. Like this is oldest. This is like peaceful song.
That's
Like,
because the ultimate villain
Get
is
it
such
off.
a big influence that you know you just take that role.
Point. But like I had a lot of fun putting this little group together, put a little bit of swing in there, just to act a fool with it. And I figured something just get people moving, a little bounce and stuff. And yeah, it's
Yeah, nice. And what are you using equipment wise to produce?
Nakai Mini, occasionally a Nakai Fire. I'm still kind of getting used to that. Like I like how it's set up, but it's got this really tiny button, so I'm still working my way around that. And what is it? Oh, and of course I'm using FL Studio. I got the most updated word version, but I'll still go back to using like 9 and getting busy with it because I started. So like on some, I know where everything is. In 20, I'm like actually reading the manual and figuring things out.
Mm. Yeah, man. So is what you learned to make beats on, was that FL Studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, it's I'm thinking back to Spread talking about the 4-track days and like like the cassette
absolutely.
days. Yeah, man.
I'm literally in a little interview, bro. Give me like 5 minutes. I know it is your birthday. I got it.
Save some cake. Do not eat all the cake again.
He ain't gonna send me no cake at all. They say happy birthday, by the way. So thank you.
Right on, man. So I appreciate you coming on. This is like our first chance actually getting to chat and talk, but I've been a fan of your work for a while. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man, you're super cool, and your production is dope. So check out his work at the bottom here. This is Harry Otaku, and he has worked with a ton of dope people, and he's got a lot of work on his own too. So please follow, check it out, download, support. I want to give before we go to my mom, and she has her whack shit of the week. I want to give a shout out to Matt, who is our producer, who's behind the scenes and been running the show. He approached me talking about that. What if we did a show on music? Would you like to host it? A number of months ago, and it's been really a great experience to be able to have this during the pandemic. Even though it's more work, it always ends up energizing me. So I just want to give a shout out. Matt, can you come out here for a second, say what's up to the people?
Here I am. I'm just chilling.
This is Matt.
Sitting with my blue. I've got my blue light special going right now. Listening to all the beats. Everything sounds great, TJ.
Right on. Can you put your PayPal or Venmo in the chat and the scroll down there? Because you're on here working your ass off and you're running this channel and doing a lot for a lot of people. And so it'd be nice if we could throw you a couple bucks. So we're gonna put Matt is gonna put his pay.
I tell you what, the best thing that you can do if you want to support me, if you want to throw me a couple bucks, hit that subscribe button on 2MB Studios, and then we get some cash monies to the whole station, and that's what I'm working towards right now. But thank you, TJ.
Yeah, it's okay to get Matt. Yeah, Matt also accepts payments in marijuana. So right on.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Matt.
I can get little. You just leave it right on my front step.
I appreciate you, man.
Peace.
It's legal here in this state. So what we're gonna do is bring out my mom for a new segment called Whack Shit of the Week. This is Lucy Reynolds. Please welcome her. Please give some emojis in the chat to welcome my mother to the show for the first time. She created me. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. A little nervous, my first time.
Awesome.
But I'm ready for some whack shit spilling.
Yeah, well, I called you up, maybe I think it was yesterday, the idea of, do you want to do this?
Well, it was really hard to choose among all the whack shit that's been taking place the last couple of weeks. It's like, where do I start, you know?
Okay, all right. Well, you want to jump right in with your whack shit of the week? All right.
So the whack person of the week is a man named Roger Wicker. He is a congressman from Mississippi, a Republican, of course, who voted, of course, against the Recovery Act. $1.9 trillion, and told his constituents, the independent restaurateurs, that there was 1.9 of the 1.9 billion, there's like 900 billion for independent restaurateurs, and wasn't that a great thing? Yes, it is. And it was, let's see, passed by 220 to 211. And one Democrat voted against it. Yeah.
And that was him?
Well, no, he's not a Democrat. No,
Okay.
It's Aaron Golden.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So anyway, but he's taking credit for the bill. He said, I wrote the part for restaurants. But sir, the reporter said, you voted against the bill, the stimulus that was going to take people out of poverty, give food to kids. He said, that's a stupid question. That was his answer.
Couldn't answer it.
And my thing is, no, sir, that was not a stupid question. Your voting and your questioning of the stimulus bill was stupid. Can you imagine 220 to 211?
Yep.
You know, and 50-50 split with my lady Kamala. Hi, fellas. Yep.
So close. It's crazy how close it is. How close. You know, it's just
and then they take credit for the money, the pieces of money that go to their areas, their constituents, because it's restaurants in their area, it's the schools for their kids in their area, it's all of that. So it makes no sense.
Yeah. So let's end on a positive note. What was a nice highlight of your week? What was something nice that happened this week for you?
Well, it was my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I'm 39 plus tax. You're a little older than me. Sorry, son. But anyway, your brother brought me a whole Cheesecake Factory cheesecake.
Mm.
Big. with a box of strawberries to put on top and whipped cream. And we made justice to that. But we sent some to Kristen around the corner.
Nice. There you go.
Meet Kristen and
Yeah. Nice way to pay it forward. All right. Thank you.
That was a great week, and it was an even greater week because the stimulus passed and you're getting your shot.
I'm getting my shot. You've gotten your shot.
I got both my shots.
And the world is opening up. It's a beautiful thing. But we're still going to be careful. And and I'm grateful. Thank you, Mom, for bringing us the whack shit of the week.
Remember his name whenever you see him, Roger Wicker. If you ever see him.
Nobody's whacker than Wicker.
Wicker. That's it. Wonderful.
Awesome. Thanks, Mom. All right. Well, this has been a very enjoyable episode. I want to thank our guests, Vinyl Villain, Harry Otaku, and Spread for joining us. Keep reaching out. Each time you connect to somebody that's on this show, when we cross-pollinate, we make our web a little bit bigger and we make our scene a bit stronger. So I appreciate the creativity and ingenuity we had, being able to take the same source and create something new with it. I see sampling as playing an instrument, and almost every different sampler is a different instrument that you learn how to play and how to master. And a record is like maybe a few chords, and you can use those chords in different ways and creative ways to find your voice. The same way, Vinyl Villain was talking about creating a beat, and he made a few beats and said, these aren't me, and then broke it down and found his sound. So being able to use, voices from the past to speak for us, it's a beautiful thing. Coming up next, we have the wrap up with Tucky Kavanaugh. So stick around.
TJ, it's the rehash.
Oh God,
it's the rehash.
Yeah, thank you so much. You were ready to tell me. I was going to say it wrong.
I was there. I was like, you know what? It's easier for me to hop in and tell you than it is for me to type it.
I get into it. I get into the host mode, and sometimes it's hard to remember.
You're beautiful. You're a beautiful human being.
I'm good at what I'm good at, and I thank you guys for joining us. Sending out much love. This has been Cross Pollination. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace.